In this parable, there is this old lady that paid her insurance every month. She has been paying this insurance for over 4 decades, let's say 44 years. She is 85 now. So you do the math. Since she was 41, she has been paying a monthly insurance for her flat. Well, it's not really a flat, it's more like a townhouse, but okay, for her property. She has a great-grandchild, Robert. Robert is 14 years old. One day, Robert is at school and he receives a WhatsApp message by one of his cousins telling him that great-grandma has become homeless. She needs to leave her place. And Robert's thinking, what? How could he do that? Throwing an old lady like that on the street. She paid rent, right? Yeah, she paid rent, but she has to leave. But so when Robert is at home, he talks to his parents about it, and the parents are upset. They don't know what to do. Then Robert asks Dad. She paid insurance for over 4 decades. And I looked on the internet. The insurance policy she had implies that anytime there's something wrong with the property, she's entitled to a new house or new place to stay on the expense of the insurance company. That's part of the contract. Then the father said, yes, but his father came with all kinds of excuses. So this 14-year-old Robert made some phone calls. He distorted his voice and pretended to be this real estate agent. And Robert found out that his great-grandmother was scammed. She purchased that townhouse. Well, actually didn't really purchase it. She moved in when she was 35. She remained in that apartment for a decade, and after a decade paying rent, she was told she was allowed to stay in the property, or stay on the property, better said, if she kept paying 10% more rent. Then after another 10 years, it will be hers. So that happened. So she kept paying the insurance just in case there was fire or something else happened. But that building was not deemed livable over 5 decades ago. So she was never even supposed to live there. And there were more buildings like that in the neighborhood. So the insurance she paid was not valid because the insurance contract implies that the building where you reside must be approved for habitation or for residence. But the building she lived in was not approved. So she was scammed. But here comes the worst part. The insurance company where she faithfully paid her contribution never told her, ma'am, you live in a building that's not approved for residency. Okay? She was not the only one that was scammed like this. That insurance company kept taking her money, but they didn't inform her. So, what happened? For 40 years, she was paying money each end of the month. In total, she paid around $1 million in insurance money. This was going on. The money she paid was put on a private bank account. She paid it to the bank account of the insurance company, but at the insurance company, they relocated the money to a private bank account. And after 3 decades, when there was around $750,000 on that account, the new owner of that insurance company took that money and he invested in real estate with other partners. And after a decade, those partners decided, you know what? Those buildings in that neighborhood need to be demolished. We'll demolish them and we'll build better buildings over there. And those better buildings, we will rent them to middle-class people who earn high wages. But hold on a minute. One of the buildings that they want to demolish is that building where that granny lived. That granny that paid her insurance every month faithfully. Never skipped a month. But the insurance company then was not concerned about Granny's safety, nor about Granny's well-being. They were only focused on their selfish ambition. They wanted to make money. So they scammed that grandmother as well as all the other people that lived there, just to take advantage of them. Well, they took advantage of those people, and now many of them were on the street. So when Robert found out about this, Robert told his parents, Mom, Dad, we can sue that company for what they did. And if we sue them, they will likely go out of business. Or they need to arrange a new place for Grandma to stay. Something needs to be done about this because this can't continue. This can't happen. But the parents, who were cowards, they didn't want to face the dangers going on. So they told him that he was just a teenager, he didn't know what he was talking about, this and that. So they began to downplay what their son said, even though what their son said was logical and reasonable. Now, that was the parable. In this parable, the grandmother, this woman, invested by paying contribution each month with the expectation that she will be taken care of eventually if something goes wrong. But the whole insurance was a scam from the start. Now, in this example that I just gave on to you, it's obvious it's a scam. It's actually a double scam. Now, there are similar scams like this happening every day on a spiritual level. Let me give an example. Let's say you're an Irishman and you live in a ghetto somewhere in Ireland or Northern Ireland or on the Irish island. And you have this priest that tells you that you need to pay offerings and tithes to the church. Well, priest, that's Roman Catholic, but okay, let's make it a Protestant example. A pastor tells you that. So you pay your tithes and offerings. Each week you donate like 20 euros, and each end of the month you give 10% of your netto wage. Because the pastor tells you when you pay your tithes, God's going to bless you and look after you. But the pastor says you will only have heaven after you die. But then you see that people who don't pay tithes, who don't even go to the church you're going to, they move into your neighborhood, they purchase the properties from the local municipality, they kick all the people out, and now in your neighborhood, where you grew up, you see all those migrants living in renovated homes, and you, the native guy that comes from that place, you are in danger of becoming homeless because your flat where you live in, let me say the complex we live in, is not sold, but if it's sold, you're on the streets. And when you go to the pastor to ask for help, he tells you, well, you need to trust God, or remember, this is earth, not heaven. So after a while, someone tells you, Philip, let's get real. You're an Irishman. you're a native of this place. That pastor is not even native here. He's an Englishman. He tells you that you need to pay him to secure heaven after you die. So actually, he's telling you need to accept hell on earth. You need to accept poverty, sickness, discrimination, exploitation, abuse. You need to accept all of that on the earth. But look at that man. Where does he live? He lives in Belfast. He lives in a wealthy neighborhood. He has a villa with 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. He has 2 expensive cars. His wife is wearing expensive jewelry all the time, and his children go on expensive holidays twice a year. And you need to keep paying him to get heaven after you die? Come on, Philip. Something doesn't add up here. And here's the worst part, Philip. Not only are you told to accept hell on earth, those other people who are strangers come into your neighborhood, they kick your people out, and you even become homeless, and they are having their heaven here on earth in your neighborhood at your expense. Philip, don't you see you are being scammed? Don't you see this quite weird? That you have to pay for your hell on earth? Just so that others can have their heaven here on earth at your expense, so your heaven is after you die, where you're not around anymore, but meanwhile, you have to accept hell so that others can have their heaven at your expense. And that guy is telling you to do that. He has his heaven right now. Look, in this second parable, it's obvious that this Philip is being scammed. But this is a spiritual scam that happens over and over again. This is the common scam in pagan Christianity, whether it's in a Protestant cult or in a Roman Catholic cult or in a Presbyterian cult. I don't care what type of cult it is. People are told, they are told there that it's after you die that you'll ascend to heaven, where you will have a peaceful existence after you die. Meanwhile, on the earth, where you are a native, you need to accept hell. You need to work from 9 to 5, pay taxes, accept limitations, accept all kinds of social constructions that go against your natural happiness, so that you can earn, so that you might earn a place in heaven after you die. So you're not even certain that you'll have a heaven after you die. Well, all those other people, including that pagan pastor in that church that you attend, he makes deals with people to make things easy for them while you have to pay him. So you need to pay the pagan pastor so that he lives at ease, and he involves himself with other people using the money you pay him, and now he assists those people in having their ease and heaven on earth. But you keep on paying, and you're in hell continuously. You need to wake up and realize it doesn't add up. Now let's leave the domain of pagan Christianity for a while. Let's look at the world in general, where the world's population accepts its 9 to 5 bondage. So you mean to tell me that you are a small child, you are 4 years old, and you're forced by the authorities to be away from your parents and to spend your days listening to a stranger that tells you how to speak, how to behave? That stranger becomes one of your parents besides your natural parents. Or maybe you're a dog, but you get what I'm saying. He becomes a parent figure onto you. And you are subjected to tests that you need to pass, or else you're in danger. Then you finish that primary school thing, you have secondary school. Again, during the time of your sexual development, you are put in the hands of strangers that need to educate you. And they don't even educate you properly about human sexuality either. You're subjected to stress because you need to pass exams, or else you won't be able to go to college, or you can't have a decent job. After you finish with that, you now have to assign yourself either for college, or you go to work directly, and you're stuck from Monday, 8 in the morning, to Friday late at 6 p.m., you are stuck between that time to give all your life source to some corporation or some employer. You can only recover on Saturday because Sunday you need to go to bed early for Monday. And you need to do this the whole month and you get a small compensation at the end of the month to remain alive. And from all the 52 weeks in a year, there are only 3 and sometimes 4 weeks that you have for yourself. And you need to be happy with this. And the ones that constructed this system, they may not be living in mansions and palaces, but they have an easy existence. They have luxurious items they use, they have luxurious provisions, where you are not invited, where you're not allowed to come, and the only reason why they live in this luxury is because they are draining you. So you need to donate your life source at your own expense to others who benefit from it, and they don't regard you at all, and they give you nothing in return. And you're told that this is adulthood, that you have responsibilities and all of that. So you are sold this slavery, but you call it freedom. And you just take it? You don't realize, hold on a minute, what's going on there. You should think, why am I supposed to be drained and exhausted so that a tiny minority can have all the ease there is? And then you find out that the currency you're using is just printed. When someone receives welfare, so when someone doesn't work to get paid, they can receive a paycheck, or better, they can receive money, but that money is made out of thin air. So then you realize, hold on a minute. So it's not the money that I work for that's given those people that don't work. So it's just created out of thin air. So why don't they create out of thin air and just hand it over to me? Why am I obliged, or better, why am I forced to give all my life source and all my life energy just to preserve my basic primitive needs? Water, food, clothes, and a place to stay. When you look at it carefully, you will realize, hold on a minute, this is a big scam. But here comes the issue. Worldly people in general, they don't want to see that they are being scammed. Their life is taken away from them. They are robbed of their natural joy and natural happiness, but they don't want to face it. They don't want to face that they are being scammed. Think of the example of that grandmother in the beginning, and that offers the example of this Philip. In both cases, they are scammed. But because they don't sit down and examine the situation, they don't realize that they are being robbed. Now listen to me. Just listen to the following, then I'm going to close this video. If you're born on earth, that means you belong to the earth. You're a human being. You're a descendant of Adam. You are designed by the Most High to operate in the earth realm, so you are a native to the earth. So all your happiness, all your joy, all your bliss, and all your blessings should manifest on the earth because you belong to the earth. Anyone that tells you that you need to embrace hell on earth until your body expires, they are scamming you. You're not designed for heaven. Okay? Look, are you going to pick up a whale from the ocean and prepare it for the sky? No, right? Because that whale or that big fish belongs in the seas. That's what it's designed for. So if someone tells you that they need to help the fish being free from the seas, they would look at you and think, what? Fish are designed for the seas or for the waters. And you're telling me we need to help and rescue the fish from the waters? What is this? That's the same way pagan Christianity and the world in general scams you, telling you that you need to escape the earth to have bliss in a place you were never designed for. Christ came so we would have life and life more abundantly in the here and now. We will receive an immortal body when Christ returns so that we will have life forever on the earth. The earth is our home. Anyone that tells you different is a scammer. Or, in a best case scenario, they are deceived themselves and they don't know any better. In any case, someone that tells you need to escape the earth is not telling you what Christ said. Any message or any teaching or any preaching that preaches that the earth is not your home, that you need to be delivered and rescued from the earth, it is a scam. Let it get through to you. That's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.